because the Regina Hall stuff was more on the comedic side, where she's breaking the fourth wall. She's it's more lighthearted with her version, right? Then you get to the Sterling K. Brown stuff, and that stuff is pretty dark. Like, it even goes to the fact that this dude was a pedophile. And I don't know what the fuck it is about preachers and pastors and little boys, but what the fuck? Alright, y'all. So this movie I was going to avoid, but then I saw my girl's review, Lovelee Movie Reviews. I'm going to leave the link in the description. Check her out. New YouTuber. Love her take on movies. And I watched her review. She ain't too much care for this movie, but for some reason her review made me intrigued to watch this movie. Now, watching this film, Honk for Jesus, right? Produced by Daniel Kaluuya and Jordan Peele. So knowing those two names are attached, especially Jordan Peele, I should have known that this was going to be a bizarre ride that's going to have me scratching my head like most Jordan Peele properties do. So, had a couple of emotions watching this because, okay, I came up in the church. Pentecostal, Baptist, you name it, I did. Well, except for Jehovah's Witness and Seventh-day Adventist, I never did that shit. But I came up in the church, so I know all about the baptizing in the water and speaking in tongues and falling out in the spirit and prophesying and all that stuff, right? All that jazz. And I say that I look at this movie and I kind of laugh because, yes, I was one of those people that believed in the church, that believed in the pastor, that the pastor could do no wrong. Like, the hierarchy was God, Jesus, and then the pastor. The pastor could do no wrong. So this movie brought back some memories about how hypocritical the church can be, how fake the church can be, the theatricality of how church can be. And there's, okay, spoilers here. There's one particular scene that really made me laugh. There's a scene where the pastor, played by Sterling K. Brown, right? Killmonger's pops. Okay, so the story is he's trying to get his church back together because he was the pastor of this big mega church, but then it all fell apart because of some sexual allegations. So he's trying to work his way back up. It's kind of an underdog story. He's trying to work his way back up, build his congregation again. But there's a handful of people that stayed behind and said, you know what, we still rock with this dude. We still want him to be our pastor. So there's a scene where he has these handful of people in his church, right? And he's preaching, and there's a little girl sitting there, and he puts his hand on her head. Laying of the hands, transferring the spirits or whatever. Puts his hand on this little girl's head, right? He goes and prophesying to her. And then she goes and falls out in the spirit. And then she gets up and she's all like, and then she looks at the camera, breaks the fourth wall and says, yeah, this is great theater. I'm like, yes. All right, quick funny story. Have any of you ever heard of a man named Benny Hinn? He's a televangelist, he used to be on TV preaching and stuff. He's the guy that would wave his hand and knock everybody over. Silver-haired guy, I think he's from Israel or some shit like that. But anyways, I went to one of his crusades. Me and my ex-wife at the time, we went to one of his crusades, right? And I was like, okay, I gotta see this shit for myself because I see him on TV and he does this thing where he's like, fire, fire, and you'd pass out, and then you wake up, you're renewed, you're healed, and all that stuff. So I said, I want to see if this shit is real. So this is at the Amway Center in Orlando. So he's doing his show, right? And he does the portion where he waves his hand and people are supposed to fall out. Me and my ex-wife fell out. Not because we fell out in the spirit, because the row ahead of us passed the fuck out, fell and knocked us over. So I guess it was a domino effect. So I guess it started from the bottom row and then worked its way up. So yes, we fell technically. We fell. But not because the spirit hit us, because the motherfucker knocked us down. All right? And I'm not trying to make a joke. That's a true fucking story. So I said, I fell, but I don't feel nothing. Yeah. This shit is not real. All right, so this movie had some good things going for itself. But at the same time, it felt like a missed opportunity because, okay, so you got Sterling K. Brown playing the pastor, then Regina Hall playing the wife, the first lady. There were a couple, but it felt like they were a couple in two different movies at the same time. Because the Regina Hall stuff was more on the comedic side, where, she's breaking the fourth wall, she's, it's more lighthearted with her version, right? Then you get to the Sterling K. Brown stuff, and that stuff is pretty dark. Like, it even goes to the fact that this dude was a pedophile. And I don't know what the fuck it is about preachers and pastors and little boys, but what the fuck? So anyways, it goes into how yes he's gay, all right, he's living a double life and he likes little boys, but it doesn't go there. Like it goes there, but then it doesn't. Like it shows a little bit of it, but then it retracts back and gets back to the lighthearted stuff. I'm like, no, if you're gonna go there, go there. All right, fuck the comedy shit. Okay, yes, put a little humor in there to lighten the mood some, but this movie felt so disjointed and so offbeat. You know what I'm saying? Like it couldn't find its footing. It didn't know what tone it was going for. Okay, it kind of had that independent kind of feel to it. Okay, this is the first time director, so I'm gonna cut her some slack. What's the name? I know the last name is Ebo or some shit like that. One half of a twin duo. But this movie was not terrible, but it felt like, damn, this could have been so much more. I feel like there was a really good movie in here somewhere, but it took the, I don't want to say it took the easy way out, but it didn't go there like it could have. Another thing too, with a film like this, you need something to anchor it. You know, this movie had no anchor, and I guess that's what it was kind of going for. Where everybody is fake, everybody is putting on, everybody's front, because the whole time they're shooting this, I guess, documentary or film or whatever to try to clean his name up and try to get him back on track to be a pastor of this church again. And also at the same time, there's a rival church couple that used to be under them, but now they got their own church and their congregation is building. So, I mean, there's some real stuff in it because that does happen. There are rivalries with churches. Like, in this small little town that I live in, there's at least, like, within a 2-mile radius, there's like 5 churches, 5 or 6 churches in a 2-mile radius. But there's like only 2 big mega churches, and they were once really big rivals, where sometimes they will fire shots at each other like, yeah, you could be here, you can go to a church where they try to teach you how to speak in tongues. You can't teach a person how to speak in tongues. The Spirit just comes over you. That's right, Pastor, you better say it. Yeah, fuck that church. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, there's some real authentic shit in here because coming up in the church, I said, okay, there are some authentic, some real things in here, right? That does really happen in the church. But it's like they take the high road and kind of go around a lot of this controversy, and then we end up with the bizarre mess, right? And like I said, with nothing to really anchor, there's nobody in this movie you can really root for. Even Regina Hall, as great as she is in this movie, but her character is a slime ball also because, she knows that her husband is what he is, and she knows that shit ain't right, but she's determined. She's like, well, I've been in the church for this long, so this is my church, this is my husband, and I'd rather kill him than leave him. Okay, so that makes you a fucking scumbag too, So, okay, well, fuck her character, and then the pastor, Sterling K. Brown, he's a piece of shit. So there's like nobody in this movie where you can like kind of get behind like, okay, that person is real. Because it is, as much as I don't fuck with the church right now, I do believe there are some sincere Christians that really want to live a good Christian life, that's trying to live a good Christian life, but because of the bad apples, it ruins it for the ones that are really trying to do good. So yeah, I'm not saying that all churches are bad. Just from my experiences, a lot of them, most of them are full of shit. Okay, most churches, I say about 90% of churches are full of shit. The pastors are full of shit. But in all fairness, they are people. They're human beings that make mistakes. But people put them on a pedestal to make them look like they're close to God. And I was one of those people. But, they put themselves out there like that. Like, yes, I'm your pastor. I'm your spiritual father. You do what I say. This is the. But then they live the opposite. Fuck all that. Anyways, I ain't mean to ramble. So this movie, missed opportunity, not terrible. So wrapping this up, I'm gonna give this movie. I'm gonna give it a C. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a C. But well, the way it ended, I have to drop it down a grade because it ended very abruptly. Like it just ended, and you're like, okay, there was nothing resolved. There was nothing that we could say, okay, there was an arc. There was no arc, no resolution, no restitution, no nothing. It just ended. All right, so yeah, C minus because of that. That's it. That's all. Have you seen Honk for Jesus? What you guys think about it? Comment freely below. If you like and dig this content, hit that like and subscribe notification bell in the corner. This is Rashad G signing out. See you in the next video.